have a couple of questions for you that I've thought about.
Plead the fifth.
I feel like I know the answers to them, but it's just like weird things that I do with the dogs that I was just curious if you do the same thing. Mm-hmm. And I've seen you do a few of these things, but still. All right, question number 1. Do you apologize to the dogs?
No.
You don't ever apologize to them?
Well, yeah, I guess I did. Earlier, I hit Lyric in the head with a water bottle by mistake. And I said, my bad.
Right, exactly.
Bishop got bit in the face by a copperhead, I think. Mm-hmm. They suspected it was a copperhead. We never did see the snake. No. He came in the house. I was just working and turned around and I let the dogs in and I wasn't really paying attention and I think I was on a call or something and I got off the call and I just looked down at him and his face was like 3 times, his muzzle was like 3 times bigger than it was supposed to be.
Yeah, it looked crazy.
And the first time I went and tried to investigate it, he winced, and you could tell he wanted to like almost bite me because it hurt, but mm-hmm. he didn't, and I think I apologized to him then. I mean, it wouldn't make sense to have a podcast about Dobermans without them being heard in the background, though.
Yeah, that's pretty much our lives. There's no opportunity for quiet moments in our home. It's always what's mostly Lyric and Jada fighting over things.
Right.
But you were telling the story.
Oh, yeah. So he got bit in the face by a copperhead. I went to investigate it and he winced. And I think I apologized then.
Yeah.
And he's just always getting hurt. I think I apologize to him more because he's always getting hurt. He's always doing something crazy.
I find myself apologizing to the dogs if I step on their paw by accident or trip over them or drop something on their heads or anything like that. You know how that happens.
Because they're right there. They're always under your foot.
They're always underfoot.
I'm surprised I haven't stepped on their paws more than I think I've only stepped on their paws maybe once or twice.
Yeah, I tend to do it pretty often. I don't know why. Mainly because I'm just distracted walking around and then they're in the way. But I will apologize to them. Okay, do you ask them questions?
I talk to them like they're human.
Okay.
That's the question, yeah. Okay.
So you ask questions like, I can think of one that you ask all the time. Well, 2.
I can't think of anything offhand right now, but I do talk to them like they're human. I'm sure I talk.
You ask them, why did they do stuff?
Right.
Why'd you do that?
Right.
And you also ask, what are you doing?
Right. Right.
I think I ask that quite a bit as well.
Right.
All right. What about when you go into the store? Like I went into Publix today and I was buying dinner for us. Mm-hmm. But they were in the car waiting, and I felt as though it was important for me to bring them something from the store because I was buying us something from the store. So I guess the question is, do you feel bad when you leave them out?
Yeah, I always try to grab them something. If I don't, I do feel bad because I mean and the thing about it is they're so spoiled. It's just like they expect it. Anytime you come in from the store, they're already looking. They hear some bags rustling or something like that. They always expecting something to be for them. So yeah, I'll be like, dang, I forgot to get them something. But but also just to piggyback on that, I've never been to a pet store specifically just Hollywood feed, going into Hollywood feed and stuff. I've never done that for other dogs, as much as I do for them.
No, me either. But never. I think it's because we just didn't have the resources. We didn't really have money like that before.
That's true.
So yeah, we didn't spend a lot of money on toys or anything like that with our previous pets. But I think that communicating with your dogs like human beings, or just like beings, it's not even so much about humans. Mm-hmm. I just think that it's important.
Yeah.
I feel like when I don't talk to them, like when I'm just too busy at work, they act out. Mm-hmm. And then I'll just stop and I'll literally have a conversation. Well, I guess a conversation is an exchange. Right. It's back and forth, but I'll literally talk to them. I don't know what about. And they'll sit there and listen to me, and it just seems to soothe them that I'm making eye contact with them and talking with them.
It doesn't help the fact that they do have like human traits. Like they look at you and they understand what you're saying, and they one fact about Dobermans that people don't realize is that they are very caring. One thing about Dobermans is that they are in tune with the human energy.
Yeah, they're very perceptive.
If you're in a good mood, they're in a good mood. If you're feeling bad, they try to put you in a good mood. They're always up under you. They always want to see what's going on. They're very nosy. That's one thing. And I think that's part of it, is they want to make sure that everything is protected. They're very protective. They're not aggressive necessarily. They're protective, and I think there's a difference. But just all those, traits of a Doberman just shows how much they are in tune with, human energy.
Yeah, I agree. So we had a boxer for 9 years. Her name was Kizzy, and Kizzy died from lymphatic cancer. We speak on her quite a bit. And Kizzy was a great dog, but I don't feel like she was as perceptive. They definitely feel more in tune than I felt that Kizzy was, even though I felt really connected to Kizzy. But Kizzy just felt more, I don't know, primal in some ways, but they feel more primal in other ways. Like they're hunters. The Dobermans are hunters. They eat animals that they catch, which I didn't even know dogs did. I just thought they would catch them, but they actually eat them. But Kizzy never did anything like that. She might have caught one bird or something, but so it's kind of hard to say. But when it comes to communicating and connecting, I just feel like that they're much sharper than I would say Kizzy was. So we just had to break. You all heard the alarm go off for Damien's frozen pizza. But he was just saying how it's kind of awkward for him. We have a party coming up, and he was saying how it's awkward for him to meet new people. And I feel like it kind of ties into what we were just discussing, because I feel like the best way to connect with new people and meet new people is to be perceptive, to ask questions, to really, that's the biggest thing. If you're asking questions, people love to talk about themselves. So for me, it's always easy. It used to be a little harder for me back in the day, but I would say within the last 3 years or so, I've never met a stranger. Like I have no problem meeting new people at all.
It's getting easier for me, but I've kind of adopted a new philosophy of life as I'm getting older. And I just minimized my circle a lot over the last couple of years.
Yeah, same here.
And it's there's pros and cons to it. There's more safety, and to me, honestly, it sounds crazy as it sounds, is I've filled those voids with the dogs.
Yeah.
And so it's like I'm more in tune with them than I am a lot of people, and I know that sounds weird. I protect my energy. I protect it,
And I do too, but I think that is what has made it easier for me to connect with people, because it's so surface level. That's the easiest way. Back in the day, I used to try to just get too deep, and I wanted to be close to people. Now I don't care. And that has made connecting so much easier for me. And I honestly think that having pets, because I've always been a perceptive person, but I feel like owning pets as long as we have has made me more perceptive, because they can't communicate in a traditional way. You have to watch them, their body language, just the different sounds they make, different facial expressions, in order to get a sense of what they want or what they need, which is great practice for dealing with people. But I'm really surprised to hear that, because I feel like it was reversed back in the day. I used to be so uncomfortable around people, and you just always seem like a social butterfly. And so
that's when I trusted everybody.
Oh,
That was when I was dumb. You know. I don't know. My grandfather always told me that you really, like, in life, from the beginning to the last day you take your last breath, you have like basically 3 real friends, people that's in your life that you can call friends. You know what I mean? And I mean, I got acquaintances and I got people that, I mean, you label people these days as friends. Sometimes they don't deserve that label. And I don't know. Overall, I think I've had one. And I'm 47. One.
Yeah.
And I'm 47. That's crazy.
I don't know if I've had really, I don't know how many I've had. I really can't say. I don't want to say none because it's offensive to people who in my life who are important to me. But I feel like the closest relationship I've ever had with a person has been with you for sure. And even in terms of friendship, it's been with you for sure. But it's just hard for me to really pin down a relationship that just stands out in my mind. That's like it's super solid, friends forever type deal. But also what you're saying is interesting to me as well, because I don't trust people. I don't trust them much at all. And I just kind of go into interacting with folks kind of anticipating, like I said, something that's surface level, because I'm not willing to open up and let people in. And that makes it a lot easier for me. I didn't trust them before either, but I think I changed my approach, and that's what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's like you get taken advantage of, you get used, you get, talk behind your back, you're getting judged, and the shit gets old.
Yeah.
It gets really, really old.
But I feel like it's level setting because everybody gets talked about. Everybody gets judged. We have our opinions about people just like they have their opinions about us. So it's just like you think something about me, I think something about you, and it doesn't matter who's right, who's wrong. Right.
And that's fine. And I agree. We all do it. But I guess I've come across people who felt like, if I was to be in the same circle as them, that you had to follow and mimic and agree with every single little thing that they do.
I agree.
And
yeah, I get it.
They can't even imagine me as a person having my own thoughts, my own way of living, my own way of doing things. And they don't not even that, it's not even, they don't respect it.
Right.
There's a lack of respect there, and like I said, I know when I come in the house, I know these 3 dogs, they're going to meet me at the door and not judge me at all. Be happy to see me, and want to spend time, hang out. We sit in the man cave all day long. We watch TV. They, get on my nerves sometimes. They lay up, and they're very, very comfortable when I'm around. And the same with you, and...
Same with me. What, I'm comfortable when you're around?
No, the dogs are comfortable when you're around.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And it's just it's a real cool environment. You know what I mean. I've never seen dogs like this before that are this in tune. I've had dogs throughout my whole life, and I've never seen dogs like this that are in tune and really feed off of your energy. When you're in a good mood, they're in a good mood. When you're in a bad mood, like I said, they try to put you in a good mood. They're very
it's like they're uneasy until you're settled, or until you you calm down.
Right.
I agree, but we don't have a lot of ups and downs emotionally in the house. And I think that lends to their like very kind of calm demeanor. Granted, they can get anxious and bored and kind of pace around. It's more bored, but ever since we had a situation with one of our dogs where our daughters got into a fight, and one of the dogs bit one of our daughters, we really have made a conscious effort to just keep things peaceful, which is something that we've tried to do anyway. But now I feel like it's become a habit. But I don't know. I just feel like the same rules apply to animals as people when you want to connect with them. The rules of just being respectful. We respect our dogs. There are a lot of people who were saying like, oh, Dobermans turn on you. Mm-hmm. Every time I mention we have Dobermans, even people with pit bulls, Rottweilers, all of that, like their faces just go blank. Like, oh, those are bad dogs. Those are mean dogs. Mm-hmm. They turn on you. Right. I even had one guy say that Dobermans turn on you as they get older because their brains outgrow their skulls or something like that, and it makes them go crazy. But what I think it is
if you can see a look on my face right now, I've never heard that.
Yeah, that's what he was saying, that the brains outgrow the skulls, and then they go insane, and then they attack the family, just for no reason, just out the blue. Also, and you know this story, but I'll just share this for the listeners. When we were discussing getting Dobermans, this was before your mother passed, rest in peace. She was a huge dog lover. She loved dogs and she loved animals in general. But when you said we were getting Dobermans, she was like, they're mean. Don't get Dobermans. They're mean. And my mother felt the same. My mother told me a horrible story about a friend of the family who owned a Doberman. And the story is that he came in one day and the dog just went crazy. For no reason, just lost his mind. And the guy had to choke the dog and kill the dog to keep it under control. So, of course, when you hear things like that over and over again, it's concerning. So I looked into it, but not into just into their temperament. Like, are Dobermans the type of dogs that historically turn against their owners? And what I found is that they have a very low tolerance for abuse. Mm-hmm. And I can see that. Mm-hmm. Like, as powerful as we are over these dogs and as much as they respect us because we respect them, I don't believe that we could just abuse them and they would allow it to happen. Oh, no. I think that they would start attacking us if we were to abuse them. Some dogs don't. But I think that that's what it is. I think that it's more so an issue of responding to the environment. And some human beings want to treat animals any type of way. Mm-hmm. And I think that they respond in kind, and they will get aggressive, and they will bite you if you're abusing them, if you're mistreating them, if you're ignoring them, if you're neglecting them. So I think that's what it is. Yeah.
There's also a rumor that they smoke cigarettes, wear bandanas, and rob banks too.
That's the Doberman gang. That's another thing my mom said. Watch the Doberman gang. I'm like, why would I want to watch a movie about evil Dobermans?
I saw like a 1-minute clip, and he had a blue bandana on, and he was smoking a cigarette, and they were about to walk in and rob a bank. I'm like,
I didn't even realize it was comical when she told me about it. I'm like, is this what you were talking about? But when you think about it, anytime you see Dobermans, they're in movies and on television commercials, they're scary. They're aggressive in some way. I think about, what was the name of that movie? I mean, it's been so many, but one comes to mind. Resident Evil. Mm-hmm. So Resident Evil was a video game, and then they made a movie from it. Mm-hmm. But there are these zombie Dobermans running around, and they attack people. And they're very, very aggressive, of course, because they're zombies.
Right.
But that's one example that comes to mind. What else? Where else in the media?
I mean, just like when Snoop came out in the mid-'90s, he had videos with Dobermans on there, and they looked aggressive. and they looked menacing.
Yeah, they're like tough.
Now, what I learned from them, they are not necessarily aggressive. They're very protective, but they can be menacing. Like on Snoop's video where they jump on the what's my name, where they jump on the picnic table when somebody was having an opinion, they jump on the table and just start eating all the food. I could see these knuckleheads doing that.
Yeah.
If they don't, they react first and think later.
Right.
And I could see them doing something like that. But as far as them like just outwardly just attacking people and stuff like that, no, they're not going to do that. Now, if you were to walk through a park and with, Bishop and Jada or Lyric or whoever, and somebody starts attacking you, they're going to have their hands full.
Yeah.
They're going to have their hands full with a very strong, strong and I'm trying to think of the word, powerful, to say lack of better terms, just powerful dog, that's going to protect their owner. And once again, that react first, think later will come into play. Who knows what's going to happen? You just don't want to, because they're very like when tonight, we took them to the dog park tonight, and Lyric is 9 months. She's going to be 9 months next week. She might as well be 9 years old.
Yeah.
She is strong. I'm talking about extremely strong.
And she's big. About how big would you say she is? How much does she weigh?
I'm guessing she's probably about 70 pounds.
That's what I was thinking too. I was thinking
she's
like
probably
75.
about 70 pounds. She's going to be a big dog. I mean, her feet are huge. She just, and the more, every day you look at her, something's different. Like I'm looking at her right now and her midsection is getting wider. But when I say fast and strong and agile, that's the word I was trying to look for. When you have an agile, strong dog, you just don't know. I'll be wrestling with her sometimes, just trying to pin her down, and it's impossible.
Right,
it's impossible, and she's 9 months old. Yeah. Same with Bishop and Jada. I mean, they're 4 years old, of course, but just trying to pin her down, just playing around with her and stuff like that, it's impossible.
I just think that people are intimidated by something that they feel like they can't control. When I say people, I mean human beings, and with large breeds, I'm sure that this is a common problem. First of all, people don't treat them with the gentleness and kindness that they do a smaller dog. Like we've had to explain to people several times, she's a puppy, even though they know she's a puppy. We've only had her for, 4 or 5 months, something like that.
Got her back in March.
And she does puppy things.
Yes.
But because she's big, people are like really upset and they feel like, the dog is out of control or she shouldn't be doing that. It's like, well, she's still a puppy. She's learning. And it just, in people's brains, there's like not that sympathy and compassion that you would have for a smaller, like really, really cute puppy, even though she is really, really cute, but like a small puppy. And that could be problematic sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, she is misunderstood. I think all dogs are misunderstood, especially people who, this is what kills me. The people who say they're not scared of dogs, but they're trying to convince themselves they're not scared of dogs, but they really are scared of dogs. And you can tell by when they get around dogs.
Yeah.
You can tell a dog owner versus, a non-dog owner. And then you can tell, I respect people who say, I don't mess with dogs.
Right.
More than I do those folks that say, I'm not scared of dogs, but then they come around and they
they're
start
uncomfortable.
acting really, really funny around dogs.
Yeah.
And it's just like,
and it makes them uncomfortable, and then we're uncomfortable, and it's just the energy is just off. And then it does start to get scary because it's like everybody's uncomfortable, just like when human beings are uncomfortable, they're unpredictable. A dog being uncomfortable, is 3 of them. We don't necessarily know. They don't hurt people besides that one situation. But you just don't know.
Yeah, you don't know. And, you just gotta let them get to know you. I mean, like we've had get-togethers, and I think I talked about my oldest, boyfriend came over here with his daughter, and the nervousness that surrounds them. And this is one of them examples where I said he feels like he likes dogs, but he's also the type of person that doesn't feel like a dog should be inside.
Right.
Which is crazy to me, because why own a dog unless you live on a junkyard? Why would you buy a dog to be outside? That doesn't make any sense to me at all. I'm not.
I don't feel like they could. I don't think they would, even if we wanted to make them outdoor dogs, because Jada has had an issue for several months that we just recently resolved, where she was leaking. Mm-hmm. And she...
What do you mean by leaking?
Like leaking urine. It would drip from her. And it smelled terrible. Mm-hmm. And we were back and forth to the doctor and just trying different antibiotics and just everything. And also she was, in addition to leaking, she's like, it's basically peeing in her sleep, like peeing on herself, which I didn't know the dogs did. So this went on for months and months and months. And as much as I love my dogs, something like that is very frustrating to deal with, like very, very frustrating. And we don't ever want to get rid of our dogs. But it definitely made me consider, like, maybe she just needs to be an outdoor dog. Yeah. But we never did that. And I don't think that she would have responded well to it anyway. I don't think we could, even if we wanted to, we couldn't make her be an outdoor dog. But what we found out was that they were digging holes in the backyard. And we live in Georgia, and it's just this Georgia clay. They dig holes in it, fills with water, all type of bacteria and things like that in the water. And we found out she realized that when she drank that water, it would create that issue where she would leak, and then it would have that terrible smell because of a urinary tract infection. So now that we know that that's what it is, we haven't had that issue since. Right. But if she would have just continued to pee, like, we thought maybe we got her fixed too early, because we got her fixed when she was, how old was Jada? Like 6 months.
She was a year. She was more than a year, but it was.
She hadn't went into heat yet.
She hadn't gone into heat yet. That's what the biggest thing was. Maybe like 9, 10 months, maybe 11 months. Right. I didn't want any type of inbreeding going on between her and Bishop. Right. And I knew that we was going to probably, end up breeding, possibly breeding Bishop, in the future.
So he's not fixed.
He's an intact, they call it an intact Doberman. Mm-hmm. So we took her to the Humane Society. And
we thought maybe that was it. Maybe they just did a botched job on her or something. But it was devastating because it's just ruining your house. You're afraid that your house smells like urine. Luckily, we have like half of our house has carpet and the other half doesn't. And then we have converted our garage into a living space, and that's what we spend most of our time with the dogs. We have like a couch in there, televisions, things like that, so we could kind of keep her separate. But thank God that stopped, because
it was horrible.
That was really bad.
It was really, really bad. It was every morning I'd wake up, and basically the first thing I had to do was wash her blankets. I don't know. She had some infections going on from that water. Gave her some antibiotics, which is a horrible situation. Jada is very nervous. When we first bought her, they told her she was kind of jumpy a little bit. I think that's what they told.
He said she was timid.
Timid. That's what they said. Timid. And she is. She's just a little bit. She's an introverted dog. She doesn't really mess with too many people. And she learned to love us, and that's pretty much the only people that she loves. And yeah. And so, but anyway, I had to catch her pee and take it to the vet one time.
Well, yeah, when we were trying to figure out what the heck was going on, the vet is just like, "Oh, just get her urine and bring it in." It's like, okay.
And so, right, exactly how. Another thing about Dobermans, and is another random fact about Dobermans, they are very, very private when they go, to the bathroom, and Jada and Bishop especially are extremely private. Lyric not so much. I think because she's a puppy, but just even in the beginning, though, when Bishop and Jada, because that was one thought that we were worried our backyard was going to get ruined because we had 2 dogs, and
it was fine until we got Lyric, and she ruined it.
She hasn't ruined it.
I feel like it's ruined.
There's just some maintenance that you have to do, some picking up that you have to do in the backyard that you don't have to do with Bishop and Jada. We have Ivy in our backyard, and they would use that to use the bathroom. But anyway, so I go out in the front, I take her outside, and I'm trying to catch this pee, and I caught her going to the bathroom, and I walked up behind her with this little bowl and stuck it under her where she was peeing at, and she peed for like maybe a half a second till she saw what I was doing, and she took off running, and she did not trust me for months.
Oh, she was so upset. She ran into her cage, and you would have thought he tried to rape her. The way that she responded to that, and she was shaken up by that for a long time. A long time. And then it's so funny. So he caught enough to be tested, and that's when we found out she had a urinary tract infection. But, back to the point of them being like perceptive, when we got the antibiotics, she caught on to it. So we were putting it in peanut butter and just different things. But we started with like peanut butter and bread, and that worked about once or twice. But it got to the point that if she even saw us going into the cabinet where the antibiotics were stored, she would just walk away.
She would leave.
And she would leave and go into her cage. Like, nope, I don't want no parts of it. And so it was really hard to even get her to take the antibiotics, even when it was mixed in. So, like, it was much. I had to tell Damion, like, she can't see you opening up the bottle or hear it.
Yeah.
So you literally have to secretly do it. But then she started to associate the peanut butter with the antibiotics, so she stopped liking the peanut butter. But it was a whole struggle. It was a whole thing. We felt like it was never going to end. It did, thank God, because we may have had an outdoor dog. Because who can live like that?
Yeah.
But I think one thing that people don't realize who are afraid of dogs, the best way to ensure your safety is to build a relationship with them. So I feel like when people are afraid of them, case in point, the boyfriend, when they're afraid, they try to be like more stern or more like powerful, like the humans try to be, or like more aggressive, or like use like strong words. And I've noticed that with people who come around them, and that's not the way to do it. The way that I have gotten really close to them is by being very nice, giving them treats, and I'm stern. They still respect me, but I respect them. I don't pull them, like people want to grab them by their collars and make them. We try not to do things like that with them, even though sometimes you have to be more stern. But in my opinion, the best way to connect is, I don't know what that old saying was, like, you catch more bees with honey than vinegar.
Right.
And that's applicable to connecting with animals and connecting with people.
Right. Exactly. There's a parallel, involved there. And it's just like, I don't know. We had to get together a month or two ago, and he came over here, and it was just like, I don't know. I guess everybody was getting irritated because I was ignoring the issue. The issue was that Lyric was just kind of in his daughter's face, but Lyric's not going to do anything.
But she wasn't really, we don't, now you have to rephrase that, because she wasn't just in her face like that. We were trying to keep her,
right.
Because we understand she's like face to face with the girl, and we don't want her in her face like that.
Right, yeah, of course.
But I feel like what the issue was is that people wanted us just to lock them up. And we tried, like, okay, well, let's just, put them up while we have company. But then they're barking the entire time because they're not used to being locked up like that. They have cages, but we leave them open. They walk in and out of those cages freely. The only time we lock the cages is at night, and that's because Jada still will sometimes pee.
Yeah.
And she'll climb up on a couch and she'll like pee on the couch or something. And and Lyric is still a puppy, so she'll get into stuff. But Bishop has he doesn't have to be in his cage. He
Yeah,
doesn't have to
Bishop.
be. He doesn't even have a cage. He had a chair. He had a lazy boy chair that is his and only his.
Now we need to get a new one because the spring is breaking on it, so he needs to get a new lazy boy. But
Yeah.
Bishop's been roaming the house pretty much for about a year now.
And he doesn't get into stuff. He can be trusted. So the only reason we put them up is because sometimes Jada and Lyric, you just don't know what they're gonna do.
Yeah, they're just, and that's one thing also is like with another random fact about Dobermans is the fact that the girls are a little bit more mischievous. The girls are a little bit more protective. The girls are a little bit more cantankerous at times.
I feel like they're more independent.
They're independent, right? And they kind of figure out things on their own, which makes them a little bit more protective. They walk the yard. They, walk the perimeter of the yard, and and they know this is where they live, and they protect their house, and they protect the people in it.
I feel like Bishop is more protect the people. I mean, which encompasses the house as well, but Bishop is more so underfoot and just by us and making sure we're good. They survey the perimeter and spend a little bit more time on the perimeter of the property, which is really good.
Right. And overall, in my opinion, the girls are just a little bit more. They're just a little bit more dope. They're real cool. They're real chill. Bishop is just a big old goofball, and that's
Bishop
my opinion.
Bishop is my baby. Bishop and me have a very close bond. He loves me. I love him, and the reason why he is sometimes insecure is because you say stuff like that. What did you just call him? Goofy?
He's a goofy.
You see, and he doesn't like that, and it makes him feel bad about himself. I've been working on his self-esteem, and those kind of words don't help.
Look.
You emasculate him.
A spade is a spade, okay? The dog is goofy. Lyric and Jada's always been real chill, really very. When she was a puppy, she was very, very intense. Her eyes were always like just really big. Her pupils were like really, really big. Just the most beautifulest dog I've ever seen in my life, but very, very, very attentive. Where Bishop kind of, his attention span kind of wanders around. He's more worried about what you're doing and where you're going than what's going on around him, even like when you walked into the store tonight, when we went to Publix, you walked into the store, he's paying attention to you too. But Lyric was like, and Jada were like on it. Like as I'm going to park the car, they're like turning as the car is going away from the store to go to the parking lot, watching where you was going through the whole, like when you got into the store, Bishop lost attention a long time ago. Anybody walked by the car, Jada started growling a couple times. Lyric was kind of looking around, kind of eyes all big,
But Bishop is about that life, though.
Yeah,
Bishop will come get after it.
Yeah,
he will. Like, what's up? He's like they're like the brains, and he's the muscle.
He's the muscle.
But yeah, a lot about their personalities was really, really surprising to me.